Hi guys, it's Mary McIntyre. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for all the lovely comments on my Valentine's collab video with the polymer clay. I got some great tips there for things to try in the future with polymer clay, so that's amazing. Thank you so much. In this video, I'm revisiting using nail foils in resin. It's one of my most viewed videos on my channel actually, and that was my very first go, and I did run into a few difficulties. And under that video again, I've had so many comments that have been really helpful, giving me some tips of different ways to try this. One of the big things that people suggested was that instead of putting the foils on the back of something while it's in the mould and then doming it up, is to take the pieces out and then do it on the top so that you've got more chance of getting to the edges and it all being okay. So I've done that. Anytime that I've been doing anything with resin recently, I've either dusted a mould with some pigment or just poured the excess resin into the mould and just basically made a few things so that I can play. So after reading some of the comments on the previous video, I had a go at doing this once this was taken out of the mould. I'd kind of messed this up and the back's a bit of a mess, so I thought I got nothing to lose. And part of it didn't stick right, but I actually really wanted this to be two different foils with a kind of fault line down the middle. That's what I was actually going for, and I really love how that turned out. And this one as well, it was one of those kind of slightly transparent, lots of kind of patterns, marble patterns, that shows up so beautifully on top of the white. So I really like how they turned out. Now there's a pigment that I recently bought that is absolutely gorgeous, but I haven't quite got a handle on how to use it yet. It's this holographic one. It's beautiful, but the way that it's kind of come off in the mold is really streaky, which is kind of annoying. So I wasn't sure what I was going to do with these pieces, but I don't really like them enough to leave them as they are. So I'm going to put some foils on top of those and make sure I choose something that shows that through. So you may just get glimpses of the holographic stuff. This one is really different. I was just like a couple of random bits of leftover resin. Some of that side's really sparkly and pretty. I like this as it is. It's a kind of weird marble, but I think it's too dark on its own, so I might have to go with that as well. And the kind of difference between that side to that side's a little bit weird, so I'm not quite sure how it would work as a necklace anyway. So nothing to lose. I've got a few plain white, this very sparkly pink, which is nice if you like pink glitter. I'm not the biggest fan of pink glitter, so I've got so many nail foils here. There are just literally so many things I can do, and I've even got the kind of spooky Halloween ones, which I may or may not use. Now in the last video I used this stuff that is for nail art. Where I was running into problems is that if you put too much of this on, when you put it under the UV lamp, it ripples. And I realised that if it ripples and it looks a bit of a mess, if you put more UV on top of that, it smooths it out and you can't see the ripples. So I think I'm going to stick with this, and playing with these two afterwards, I kind of had more of a handle on how much was too much and how much was just right. If you don't put enough on, the foil doesn't stick all the way. If you put too much on, it goes wrinkly. But I now know I can fix the wrinkly, so that's fine. I'm looking forward to doing this. I've been wanting to revisit this for quite a long time. I've been saving all of these pendants so that I can have a go at doing it. I'm also going to put my gloves on, and I'm probably going to put my respirator on as well, because although this may not have the toxic chemicals in that that two-part epoxy does, I really don't like the smell of it at all. So I'm going to put my respirator on and probably voice over this bit, because I just want to protect my lungs. So I'm going to spend some time going through these foils and pick my favourites, then I'll be back. So just showing you, these are the shortlisted foils. Can't possibly use all of them, but yeah, looking forward to trying these out. So let's get started. So I spent quite a lot of time beforehand just making sure that I was happy that all of the foils I was gluing down matched the pendant that I was working on. Took ages because I have so many that I like. And then I put a very thin coat of that nail gel on, making sure it wasn't too thick, but I spent quite a lot of time spreading it out super thoroughly.
Now, I got better results doing it wet, which is what somebody suggested I do in the comments, and that worked really well. But when the nail foils are intact, as in their full strips, it was really hard to keep them still because it's a giant slip and slide. So I was putting them under the lamp for 2 lots of 90 seconds, and then they were peeling off okay, but until it had cured a little bit, they were sliding all over the place. So I did actually start to trim them down a little bit to make it a bit easier to handle. I peeled a couple off there just to check that the 3 minutes was enough, but I actually left most of the ones in the perimeter where they were still getting light, so the really wet ones would go under the lamp, but the others were still getting light from the lamp for the entire of the time that I was doing this. That way they were all getting really thoroughly cured before I peeled them all off. So I left the foils on and peeled them all off together at the end, which is a really satisfying bit of the video. So that's kind of all I did. Under the lamp, 2 lots of 90 seconds, and then you'll see the results when I peel them off. So to seal them in, I'm just putting a domed coat of JDiction UV resin on them, using the Microbrush to get that right out to the edges. Once I was happy with the dome, I hit it with my long nose lighter to pop any bubbles that might have been present, then under the lamp for about 6 minutes, and I did it in my coaster mould so that I could stick them under the lamp in batches really easily without disturbing the dome.
Okay, I've top coated everything. I still hate UV top coating. I haven't changed my opinion on that from the last video, but I'm really happy with these. Got a little nubbin on that one. No idea how that happened. There's a bit of overspill on the round ones, which I need to clean up. I'm just going to make sure this is fully hard, and then I'll go in and sand it down and just polish it up. I'm going to have to re-drill the hole on these, but that's okay. That's a quick job. These are so much better than the first ones I did. I just love them. Just beautiful. So I'm kind of the way that the light's hitting the iridescent bits is gorgeous, but yeah, with the domed top on, it's really brought out that detail. I was toying with the idea of a second layer of foils on that one, but I decided to just leave it. But I think the floral ones have just come out beautifully, and these, because they've got that kind of iridescent powder underneath, they are changing colour with different angles, even though they've got the floral bit on front. So I think that holographic pigment, same with this one, the holographic pigment means that's changing colour constantly. But you've got the flowers on top, which I think is so pretty. So yeah, I am super, super thrilled. Oh, this little floral skull is so beautiful. Yeah, kind of Hawaiian shirt meets Day of the Dead. There's a tiny bit of that flower that didn't come off on the foil, but that's okay. I still like it. Okay, so I think that was more successful than last time.
Oh my gosh, these in daylight. Oh my god, that holographic pigment is next level. And a lot of the nail foils have holographic features as well. I think I must have been a magpie in a previous life, because this stuff is just so gorgeous, and it was beautiful under the ring light, but in sunlight, just incredible. And the fact that it's constantly changing, never looks the same from any angle, just absolutely phenomenal. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching this. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.
Well, for those of you who saw Slinky in my last video, on Wednesday he gave us one heck of a fright. He had some kind of episode, fell over and stopped breathing. We don't know what happened, but we quickly did CPR, an adapted CPR that my husband learned how to do for babies in his first aid training. Got him breathing again, wrapped my towel straight down to the vet's, which luckily is 2 miles away, and when he first got there, he lost some of his sight. They thought oxygen deprivation had caused blindness. He was very unstable, very wobbly, howling, awful, absolutely awful. And after an overnight stay, completely back to normal, giving cuddles to the staff, normal bloods. So we don't know whether he ate something funny. They gave him charcoal and all of that stuff just to be sure. And now you would not know anything had happened. I think we are in a worse state than him. We keep waking him up every time he's asleep. We're like, is he still breathing? Is he still breathing? But you are loving the extra fuss, aren't you, sausage? You are. So yeah, having only lost Coco 5 weeks ago, it was kind of like horrifying that we may lose Slinky as well. But he's still here. Still stabbing his claws in my legs and still being a pest and getting all of the cuddles and all of the dreamies. So yeah, I just thought I'd let you guys know, because I know quite a lot of you love our cats. So good boy Slinks, he's still with us.